about what is meant by Brewster angle, what is the equation obtained from the Brewster angle for parallel polarization, and next what do you mean by surface impedance. And we have discussed surface impedance of a flat plate conductor. By assuming a flat plate conductor, the thickness of a conductor is greater than the depth of penetration. So what is a possible condition of a, what is the condition of a surface impedance? So we have derived, and we'll know about a surface impedance of a good conductor. Okay, so these are the topics which cover in this video. Now we'll see about a Brewster angle or polarizing angle. Polarizing angle. So it is denoted with theta b. Parallel polarization. It is obtained only in parallel polarization. So we will see now what is about a Brewster polarizing angle. So it is the angle of incidence at which the reflection coefficient is 0 for parallel polarization. Okay, so it is the angle of incidence at which the reflection coefficient is 0 for parallel polarization. So that angle is called as a Brewster angle. It is denoted with theta b. So the two lines indicates the parallel polarization. So it is the angle of incidence at which the reflection coefficient is 0 for parallel polarization. Okay, I will see about this. Consider plane of incidence, xz plane. xz plane. Okay, so now this is a normal direction angle. This is the Brewster angle, and theta angle of incidence is equals to Brewster angle. So there is no reflection takes place. So you already know about a direction of incident wave. So this is the direction of propagation of the incident wave. So in parallel polarization, so we already know about a parallel polarization. So the direction of electric field must be towards the left. And why? Because in parallel polarization, the electric field intensity vector must be parallel to the plane of incidence. So this electric field vector must be in this direction, and the magnetic field is pointing outside. So here this is the EI vector. So this EI vector is resolved into two components. So one is in X component and one is in Z component. So we can say this electric field intensity of a incident waveform is perpendicular to y direction. So this electric field intensity of an incident waveform will have only in y direction, which is perpendicular to the plane of incidence. So the EI vector is parallel to the plane of incidence. As we can see, the plane of incidence is xz. So the E vector of an incident waveform will have the components in E, X and Z, so that we can say it is a parallel to the plane of incidence. So this is the direction of a propagation of a reflected waveform with an angle of theta r. Here we already said that Brewster angle is nothing but it is angle of incidence at which the reflection coefficient is 0. But reflected wave existing in this is the direction of reflection. This is the direction of reflection of a reflected waveform, direction of propagation of the reflected waveform. Now I want to represent a electric field intensity vector, but according to Brewster, if the incident angle of incidence is equals to angle of Brewster, so there is no reflection takes place. That means that the reflected electric field intensity vector ER is absent here. According to the vector diagram, we can see the electric field must be in this parallel to the plane of incidence, but according to the angle of incidence is equals to Brewster angle, so that we can say there is no reflection takes place. But here the electric field intensity vector of a reflected waveform is 0, is absent here, but we need to represent a H field. So we already know about a electric field intensity vector and propagation vector are 90 degrees, so perpendicular to each other, so that if the direction of propagation is in this direction, so the thumb is pointing out the direction of electric field intensity of a reflected waveform, so that we can say that it is pointing outside. So the electric field intensity is pointing outside, so it is coming out of the paper, so it is represented as a theta ER. Okay, but here the electric field intensity is perpendicular. Electric field intensity is perpendicular, so we can say the reflected waveform is linearly polarized, will having a component along which is perpendicular to y direction. So a reflected waveform will have only in perpendicular direction, so which is having only y component, it is linearly polarized. So whereas here having two components, which is here the electric field intensity of incident waveform is circularly or elliptically polarized. As we have already discussed about this polarization, here what is meant by linear polarization? The electric field intensity vector is always along a straight line, that means it is perpendicular, so which lies along x and y axes, so which is perpendicular to y direction, it is propagating in y direction. So the electric field intensity vector is having component in y direction. Okay, so it is a linearly polarized. In circular polarization and elliptical polarization, we have the x and z components, so that we can say it is a circular or elliptically polarized. Now we can see the transmitted waveform. This is the direction of propagation of the transmitted waveform with an angle of theta, making with a normal. So if you can say, according to the electric field intensity vector, if the direction of propagation is in this particular direction, the electric field intensity vector must be parallel to the plane of incidence, so that it should be in this direction, and the direction of a H field must be coming out of the paper, so it is represented as a dot. So we can say this is the direction of a E field of a transmitted waveform, and this is the direction of a H field. So we will consider only E field here we are considering only E field. So this is the direction of a E field, ET. So here also we'll get two components. One is in x direction, one is in negative z direction. Okay, so it is also parallel to the plane of incidence, so it is also called as circular or elliptically polarized. So a transmitted waveform is already also called as a circular or elliptically polarized. The incident waveform and transmitted waveform is circular or elliptically polarized, but the reflected waveform here is when the angle of incidence is equals to Brewster angle. So reflected waveform is nothing but ER is nothing but a linearly polarized, so that we can say, in order to explain the Brewster polarizing angle of incidence at which the reflection coefficient is 0, so that we want the reflection coefficient for parallel polarization is nothing but E cos theta t minus, so we have already derived eta t for parallel polarization, eta 2 cos theta t. So eta 2 cos theta t minus eta 1 cos theta I by eta 2 cos theta t plus eta 1 cos theta I. So in this particular reflection coefficient gamma, we will taking it as at 0 when the angle of incidence is equals to Brewster angle, so the reflection coefficient is 0. So we are equating to this particular equation. So we'll get eta 2 cos theta t is equals to eta 1 cos theta I. So we'll get this relation. Okay, now using this relation you can calculate. Now using the above relation sin theta t, which is obtained from the refractive index, we have derived from this equation sin theta t by theta I is equals to v2 by v1. So we have already derived the v2 by v1. v2 by v1 is nothing but mu epsilon 2 by 1 by mu 2 mu 1 epsilon 1. So as you know that mu1 is equals to mu2 is equals to mu naught, so that these two are going to be cancelled. So as in terms we can write intrinsic impedance. One by epsilon 1 by mu root over mu by epsilon 1 by as we can see this mu1 is equals to mu naught and mu2 is equals to mu naught. We can say that, so this can be written as like this. So we can say 1 by root over mu naught by epsilon 1 multiplied with root over mu naught by epsilon 2 by 1, so that we can say this is a eta 2 by this is a eta 1. Okay, so now sin theta t by theta I is equals to eta 2 by eta 1. Okay, so we'll get the same equation eta 2 by eta 1. So eta 1 sin theta t by eta 2 sin theta t theta I. So this is a theta I value. Okay, now we can say that, so eta 1 we already know, eta 1 is nothing but a mu naught by epsilon 1 sin theta t. Similarly eta 2 is nothing but a mu naught by epsilon 2 sin theta I. Okay, so now squaring on both sides. Now what is the value of a Brewster angle? We are deriving from the angle of a Brewster, theta b. I want the theta b value. Okay, so that we will squaring on both sides. So we'll get mu naught by epsilon 1 sin square theta t is equals to mu naught by epsilon 2 sin theta I. So mu naught gets cancelled. So epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 sin square theta t, which is equals to sin theta I. So sin square theta t is equals to epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 sin theta I. So sin square theta t can be written as cos 1 minus of cos square theta t epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 sin t. Here also we will get square sin square theta I. Okay, so this 1 minus of cos theta t. So we already got the equation as a cos theta t is equals to eta 1 by eta 2 cos theta I. So substitute the value eta 1 by eta 2 cos theta I, that is a cos theta t value, eta 1 by eta 2 cos theta I. So now substitute, this is a whole square, this is a square sin square theta I. So we'll get so eta 2 1 minus of eta 1 by eta 2 whole square cos square theta I is equals to eta 1 sin square theta I. So eta 1 can be written as, so we already know about eta 1 by eta 2 is equals to root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1. So now according to this we can say that we can write from this equation as epsilon 2 1 minus of epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 whole square cos square theta I is equals to epsilon 1 sin square theta I. Now we will see eta 2 by eta 1 cos square theta can be written as 1 minus of sin square theta I eta 1 by eta 2 sin square theta I. Okay, so now 1 minus of eta 2 by eta 1. So this is only the multiplication of this is not entire multiplication. Okay, this is only the multiplication. So we'll get plus eta 2 by eta 1 sin square theta I is equals to eta 1 by eta 2 sin square theta I. So we'll get 1 minus of eta 2 by eta 1. So write down these terms. So we'll take eta 1 by eta 2 minus of eta 2 by eta 1. Taking sin square theta is common. So now we can write eta minus of eta 2, eta 1 minus of eta 2 by eta 1 is equals to eta square, eta 1 square, eta 2 square by eta 2 eta epsilon, sorry, it's not eta, epsilon 2 epsilon 1. So epsilon 1 can cancel. Sin square theta I. Okay, now you got the relation. So this is epsilon 1 minus of epsilon 2 is equals to, so this is in a square minus b square formula, a plus b. So epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2, epsilon 1 minus of epsilon 2 by epsilon 2 sin square theta I. Okay, so in this, these two terms are cancelled. So now you got a sin square theta I is equals to epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. So now sin theta I is equals to root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. Now I want a sin theta I can be written as, so from theta I is equals to sin square theta sin inverse of root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. So this is nothing but the Brewster angle. So this angle of incidence is equals to the Brewster angle, so that we can calculate epsilon. This is the formula obtained from this equation. Okay, from figure we can say that when an unpolarized incident wave strikes as an incident obliquely at a Brewster angle, so the component which is perpendicular to the plane of incidence will be reflected, and the components which is parallel to the plane of incidence will not be reflected. So this is the significance of a Brewster angle. So there is no reflection takes place when it is in parallel components. The parallel components are, there is no reflection takes place, but only the perpendicular components will have the reflection. So the perpendicular components is reflected here. Okay, so there is no parallel components here. So at the angle of Brewster, this is called as a polarizing angle. This is the significance of Brewster angle. We got a angle of incidence is equals to the Brewster angle. So then there is no reflection takes place here. Theta b is equals to theta is equals to sin inverse of root over epsilon 2 by root epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2 under root. Okay, so this is the Brewster angle. So we have to derive the alternate formula for this Brewster angle, so that we consider this equation, this particular equation, to consider this particular equation again, and with this is continued now in the next. So this is the particular equation. Now I am changing 1 minus of epsilon 1 epsilon 2 cos square theta can be changed as this. Cos square theta is not changed here. So now here to convert this sine square theta I value into 1 minus of cos square theta I, so that we'll get a relation. So 1 minus epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 cos square theta I, so eta 1 by eta 2 minus of eta 1 by eta 2 cos square theta I. So now 1 minus of this cosine terms are keep at one side. Epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 cos square theta I minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 cos square theta I. Here it will take a cos theta is common, cos square theta is common, so you will get epsilon 1 minus of epsilon 2 minus of epsilon 1 by epsilon 2, epsilon 2 minus epsilon 1 by this is square epsilon 1 epsilon 2. Okay, now take a common as cos theta I, so you will get here epsilon 2 cancel, so here we can write epsilon 2 minus of epsilon 1 is equals to, this is an a square minus b square formula, a minus b plus a plus b by epsilon 1 cos square theta I. So here these two terms are cancelled, so epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 plus epsilon 1 is nothing but a root, is a cos theta I. So now, so theta I can be written as cos inverse of root over epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 plus epsilon 1. So this is the another formula for Brewster angle, cos theta I is equals to theta B. Okay, so now we can derive the alternate formula by dividing this equation 2, this is equation 2 and this is equation 1. Now divide equation 1 by 2, so which is nothing but sin theta I by cos theta I is equals to root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2 root over epsilon 1 by epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. So here you will get sin theta by cos theta is nothing but tan theta I. Tan theta I is equals to root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1. So this is another formula. So from this formula, tan theta I, which is equals to Brewster angle, which is nothing but the tan inverse of root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1. So this is the polarizing angle, which is equals to angle of incidence, so which can be obtained from root over epsilon 2 by epsilon 1. Okay, now we'll see about a surface impedance, which is denoted as ZS. So it is a ratio of a tangential component of the electric field to the surface current density at the conductor surface. So it is a ratio of tangential components, it is nothing but E tangential component to the surface current density, it is represented by JS. Okay, so the surface impedance is denoted with ZS. So ZS is equals to E tangential by ZS, which is treated as in the units are ohms. Okay, now consider a flat plate conductor which is at Z is equals to 0, which is parallel to this plane, and we have produced a current which is in normal direction, so which is in Z direction. Okay, so this is the flat plate conductor which is placed parallel to the Z is equals to 0. So now the current direction is in Z. Okay, so which is exponentially decreasing, so we can say the current direction is in exponentially decreasing factor, so we can say this is J. So the current is in moving is in current distribution is in Z direction, we can say. So this is J e power of minus, so which is in terms of wave equation we can say gamma Z, where gamma is a propagation constant, J naught is a surface current density at a conductor surface. So J naught is at a conductor surface, so the current density at a conductor surface, so which can be denoted as z naught e power of minus gamma z. Okay, so this is the equation. So we can say, so E tangential by Zs is the surface impedance. So we have chosen a flat plate conductor. The current flowing into this is nothing but normal to the Z is equals to 0 plane. So the current density is exponentially decreasing factor, so towards a propagation constant. So current density at a surface is represented as J naught, which is, so we can say it is an exponentially decreasing factor. So as we have assumed that thickness is greater than the thickness of the conductor is greater than the depth of penetration. Thickness of a conductor is greater than the depth of penetration. Depth of penetration. So the reflection towards the backside is not possible. So at that instant, current density of the surface current density is given by 0 to infinite J naught e to the power of minus gamma z dz. So J naught e to the power of gamma z minus gamma z by, with respect to z we can say this is a gamma minus gamma. Now substitute the limits, so you'll get a J naught by gamma. You can get J naught by gamma. Okay, this is the Js value, surface impedance current density value. Now we can say that Zs is equals to E tangential component by Js. So in this we can substitute the value of this. So as J naught is nothing but a current density, which is nothing but a sigma E tangential component. So I substitute the value of J as a sigma E tangential component in this particular equation. So Js is equals to sigma E tangential by gamma. So now I am substituting E tangential by sigma E tangential by gamma. So E tangential gets cancelled. So then surface impedance is equals to propagation constant gamma by sigma. Okay, now we have already derived the gamma propagation constant. This is the expression for propagation constant. This is the expression for propagation constant. Okay, now sigma conductivity of the material is greater than the epsilon, so we can say omega E. So this term is neglected when comparing with this. So j omega mu sigma, you'll get j omega mu sigma. So next I will substituting Zs is equals to gamma. In the place of gamma I am substituting root over j omega sigma mu sigma by sigma. You'll get Zs is equals to root over Js omega by j mu omega by sigma root over under root. So this is the value you are getting, which is equals to, if the thickness of the conductor is greater than the depth of penetration, you will get like this. So in the same way, for good conductor, characteristic impedance is a equal value. So from this we can say the characteristic impedance is equals to the intrinsic impedance or surface impedance. The characteristic impedance is nothing but a eta, or surface impedance is nothing but a Zs. These two are equal when the thickness of the conductor is greater than the depth of penetration. Thickness of the conductor is greater than the depth of penetration. So we can say for good conductors, surface impedance is equals to intrinsic impedance. So this is the surface impedance significance. So far we have seen the surface impedance of a surface impedance value. So we can obtain the surface impedance of a conductor is j omega mu by sigma. So this is the value got in the above in the last derivation. So that surface impedance value, now omega mu by epsilon, so this j can be root over j can be written as angle at 1 at 45. So this can be again written as 2 sigma plus j root over omega mu by sigma 2 sigma. Okay, so in this zs can be treated as r plus jx. Okay, so this is rs plus j, this is x. Okay, xs. So rs is a skin effect factor, skin effect resistance, so which is treated as omega mu by 2 sigma. Okay, and the x value is nothing but a root over mu by 2 sigma, which is also same value, but j is there here. Okay, this is the surface reactance. This is the surface resistance or skin effect resistance. So this is the surface reactance. Okay, which is nothing but a root over the same value, root over omega mu by 2 sigma. Okay, now you can say this is happens when the thickness of the conductor is greater than the depth of penetration, which is denoted as delta. Okay, so if the thickness is greater than the depth of penetration, then skin depth is nothing but a depth of penetration of a good conductor. For good conductor, okay, so this is the value for good conductor. Delta is equals to root under 2 by omega mu sigma. So this is the value. So you'll get rs as, so 2 gets cancelled, so 1 by delta sigma. So surface resistance or skin effect resistance can be written in terms of a delta as rs is equals to 1 by delta sigma.